I can't be the only one who felt like we just watched 2 episodes of Tomodachi Game, because even though it was the normal length episode, sure, a bit of the animation carried into the credits there, but it felt like from the conclusion of this game, this hide and seek, and all the revelations that came with it, to the aftermath and seeing them out on the streets and seeing what happened with Shio and Shibe and just everything like that, it felt like we just watched 2 episodes worth of content, yet the pacing was flawless despite it still being the average 20-minute length episode. Holy shit though, man. The unexpected torture, the very careful directing that they've snuck under the radar for some time, because a lot of what we saw in this episode has been revealed in previous episodes. The arrest of our boy, I thought that happened in the past. If it did happen in the future, how is that going to tie in? The idea that, in last week's episode, there was a bunch of images. Saw so many people say the reason he ended up winning was because of a punch that he got hit. Doesn't really make sense, though, right? Because that wouldn't be as intense that we're expecting from this man. This is a guy who knows how to manipulate. And to see what actually happened in terms of the victory, the panic button, and the way he got him to press it, even though he may have only hit this man, and maybe he only broke his own finger, we know damn well, even prior to him admitting that had he been a second later, he would have broke more than a finger in order to win, need be. Because this man is a murderer. This man is someone who actively says, the only reason you're saying I'm a good person is because I've been slightly changed by the people that I've come to, call friends. Because ultimately the friendships that he's made and is held on to, that's what's made him a better person. But if he had no one around him and he was going to completely cut loose, he would probably kill and murder and do all these different things in order to get to that victory, no matter the cost. And I think that's what makes the 3 pillars of hide and seek so interesting. The push off the cliff, starving Tenji, and the beatdown, right? Those were the 3 big things that he did. And you can make the argument piece by piece. Tenji, ultimately he ended up surviving, everything's fine. The pushing the girl off the cliff, he knew she was a part of management, so truth be told, he didn't give a shit, right? And then in terms of the beatdown, sure, he just hit him a few times and he took the exact same beating back. But ultimately, if you really look inside this man's mind from what we've been revealed, and hell, he himself is admitting that he can do far worse, it's not just because of management. He would push anyone off the cliff in order to get that W, whether they get caught or not. Tenji starving and dying, ultimately, it's one of those things that because he went to that length, Tenji will trust him no matter what, and I doubt that's the last time Tenji's gonna have to do something intense in order to win in terms of this game. And then in terms of the beatdown, I think he would have been glad to send this man into a wheelchair for life if that's what it took to win, because there's no way he was going to lose there unless somehow he can magically switch teams and can, progress the game in that way. But it's interesting how they blend that line of like psychopath, monster, devil, all these different things that they call him, but also keeping him slightly grounded, that the reason he doesn't completely go out the edge is because he has friends. And ultimately, no matter what he says to them or does to them, they still do matter to him, as twisted as sometimes his actions and words may be. And that's what's really interesting about his character, is you never quite know how far he's truly going to go. That's why I actually thought he did break his finger. And when it was revealed that he broke his own finger, it was interesting because you get 2 different sides of him all at the same time. One, he understands the value of friendship. If he can help it, he's not going to break apart friendships just because he can, but if he has to, he will. If it would have been a second longer, if it would have been 10 seconds longer, I think he would have been perfectly content destroying this man's basketball career and life for good if it meant progressing forward. So when you get that thread at the end where you see, it's interesting because this game is all about manipulating trust and values, so then therefore they can keep you under the palm of their hand. But when you have a man like Yuichi who's saying, I have nothing, all you can do is attack me, the viewer knows that he cares about this group, even Tenji, right? Like even before, there was more trust built in this hide and seek game, he still valued him despite the betrayal. So the fact that he throws it in their face to that way and then they immediately throw it back, that we're going to torture this girl you claim to hate, and the fact that he's like, I will kill you if you do anything, that's not like a meaningless threat. This man would gladly kill anyone who did him wrong. And it feels like we're getting closer and closer to the true back in the day Yuichi popping up, because the big reason that he didn't come out completely in hide and seek is that Tenji was there, right? So the fact that he's seemingly going in alone, I feel like we might see a very intense murderous form take hold, and that would be a very insane way to end the season as we hopefully wait for a season 2. But I thought they did one hell of a good job twisting and turning. I mean, just to see how they actually managed everything. That's what I love about it, is that, you know, they can show you him getting punched, or they can show you Shibe getting arrested. And there's people who will take that at face value and say, that's how it happened, and, you know, clearly this is what's going to happen. But they still manage to pull the rug from under your feet, you slip on your ass, and you say, please do it again, because I haven't quite felt a thrill like that in some time. What an amazing episode, and just an amazing show in general. The general progression over 11 episodes. I mean, the first half of this show, it changed direction and what type of show you expected it to be, like 3 different times in 5 or 6 episodes. But really, hide and seek and the end of the previous game onwards, really just, it turned it into something even better. You know, for so long it felt like a 10 out of 10, but then it just became a different type of 10 out of 10 after it really got into what the show can do if it really gets the time to flourish in the more crazy moments. And what an incredible episode across the board. Voice actors hit it out of the park. I'm glad they didn't go the route of just like him snapping a tree branch or something. I'm glad that at the very least, even if it wasn't him, he did it to himself sort of a thing. And the fact that he admits in this episode that he would have done it to him, he would have probably done much worse need be, so we don't have people saying, but he's not actually a monster, right? You know, he's a good guy who he wouldn't actually hurt someone too bad. No, he would if he needed to. And I think we're about to see that form take hold now that she's been kidnapped, and from physical to sexual abuse based on what they're teasing here, there's going to be stuff he's going to see that's going to let the real Yuichi take hold. And I fear for anyone caught in his path, because his wrath will have no mercy and no discrimination. Genders be damned, he's going to kill everyone need be, it feels. But I mean, the fact that they say that, you know, if he comes, whatever happens to her is going to basically look small because it's going to happen so much worse to him. The thing is, he can take a beating and he can take emotional abuse, but what will they truly do to get under his skin? It'll be interesting, because he can both deal it, but they can deal it to him just as much. So it'll be interesting, right? Because as much as he claims he doesn't have anything, the friends are the one thing keeping him sort of human. Even if most of what we've seen so far seems a little more monstrous, and the real him is coming hold, and he'll do whatever it takes to keep them safe, even if he breaks their trust in himself, you know, for the rest of their lives, right? But I mean, great episode. I'm excited and sad to see how it will all wrap up next week. But thoughts and feelings, theories, if you got any down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and goddamn, and subscribe if you're new around here. I'm just flabbergasted by this episode in the best possible ways. But we'll catch you next time, and have a good one.